Oh hey, welcome back to the Creamery. I hope you've had a lovely week. I know I've had exactly 7 pleasant days since the last time we met. But of course we're not here for idle chit-chat. As we all know, people who watch YouTube videos don't care about anything except the raw content, stripped of any personality, humanity, or preamble. Don't have fun, that would be distracting. And don't be distracting, that would be fun. In fact, if you could just find a way to download information into my brain without any of the interference of your tone of voice or facial expressions, that's really what I'd prefer. And I get it. We live in an efficient, optimized world that's getting all the more systems optimization centric. I mean, you can't be wasting time building rapport with someone, not when generative AI can pull together a full page of nearly accurate information in fractions of a second. Rapport, after all, is inefficient. And honestly, I've spent the last week worrying that ice cream is inefficient. I mean, you've seen the process that we run the show. You make a base, let it cool, churn it, freeze it. It's so many hours and steps just to get, what, a mouthful of milk and sugar? I mean, it's crazy town, and there has to be a better way. Well, lucky for us, there is, with Dr. B's new patent not pursued ice cream replacement supplements. Drawing inspiration from meal replacement shakes and nutritional supplements, I've managed to do for ice cream what generative AI is doing for the arts and other professions like teaching. See, I've developed a proprietary process whereby all the nutritional content of ice cream is compressed into colorful capsules, while all the inefficiencies like flavor, temperature, and texture have been safely removed and donated to small colleges that teach absurd and worthless things like how to communicate with humans or how to appreciate a painting. Please be assured that the colors of the capsules are not for consumer enjoyment, but only serve for brand recognition. So my friends, with Dr. B's ice cream replacement supplements, you can enjoy all the sugar, fat, and calcium you'd get from a scoop of ice cream, while keeping your human senses dulled and disengaged enough to keep you fully immersed in very important and useful endeavors like doom scrolling. Now, hold on. I understand that old habits die hard, but you must resist the urge to make a Dr. B's ice cream replacement supplement sundae. Not only is it inadvisable to use multiple supplements at once, but the addition of things like sauces, nuts, and whipped creams will have a negative effect on your efforts to optimize your dessert habits for maximum productivity. Remember, this is about the nutritional outcome with none of the embodied experience or lost time of eating. So, the next time your friends invite you to go get ice cream, just say, no thanks. You're optimizing your life, giving up your personhood, and embracing the efficient and productive reality that you are a little chemical reactor known as Homo sapiens sapiens. Ice cream is so 2012. But what can I say? I'm a little nostalgic, and I'm not quite optimized myself, but I am trying. So, for those of you who, like me, are really only partially optimized but still seeking efficiency, I thought I'd share not one, not 28, but 4 ice cream recipes all based on the same base. That's right, you can make one ice cream and then end up with 4. It's no capsule, but it's not nothing either. So what do you say we get started on a little cream cheese tetralogy? Of course, to start, we'll need to make some cream cheese ice cream, and I wouldn't want you to waste your time with unnecessary stuff that will have no bearing on the rest of the video, so I'll get right to the point. You're going to need some cream cheese, and some ice cream ingredients, probably something like whatever you're seeing on the screen right now. See, I'm trying to give you the facts without any human inefficiencies. Anyway, it's real easy. Put your cream, milk, and sugar and glucose into a pot and raise its average kinetic energy until it comes to a boil. That's 100 C for those of you preparing this ice cream under standard atmospheric conditions. Once it's reached a boil, take it off the heat and cool it down to 50 C or less as quickly as possible. Or you may throw caution to the wind in a spirit of maximum efficiency and pour it all into a blender with the cream cheese and 1 gram of xanthan gum. Although do take care to remember that blending hot liquids is unsafe and that you should not do it. We here at Dr. B's Creamery are not fools, but we're also not making an ice bath and waiting all the way down to 50 C. Then strain it and put it in the fridge to cure, ideally overnight or efficiently for at least 4 hours. Now, if all you do is churn this ice cream, you'll have yourself a lovely cream cheese flavored ice cream. But this would not be an efficient video if that's all you got. I did promise, after all, 4 flavors, and that's what I'm going to give you. I guess 5 if you count the plain variety, which of course you should, because plain is the best we could ever do. But anyway, variation 1 is prime material for early summer. It's the cream cheese and pumpkin bread variety. And for that, you'll need some freshly churned cream cheese ice cream, some pumpkin bread, and if you're feeling extra inefficient, some chocolate. Generally, when you're adding things to ice cream, you want them to be as cold as possible to avoid melting. So once my ice cream was churned, I took it out and folded in some chunks of frozen pumpkin bread. And it's about here that I should confess something to you. The recipe I showed you makes 1 quart of ice cream. I did not, however, make 4 quarts of ice cream. I made 2 and then divided each in half to make pints of these 4 variations. Now, what does that really mean? It means that I've lied to you so far, and I am sorry for that. But it also means that I didn't prepare these in the optimal way, and I'm even sorrier for that. Which is really to say that you can do better. So when your ice cream is done churning but still in the machine, keep it running and drizzle in some slightly cooled melted chocolate. Now that's going to leave you with lovely flecks of chocolate that freckle the ice cream without creating any of those igneous nuggets of chocolate that will pay for your dentist's children's education. Or you could do what I did, making 4 kinds of ice cream in one day under the glare of improvised studio lighting, trying to fold extra stuff into the ice cream on a time crunch and in suboptimal circumstances, and just dump pumpkin bread and chocolate chips into the whole thing at once. And then, of course, you'll let it all harden up in the freezer, and the next day, you'll end up with something like this. Ooh, ah. And let me tell you, this is some good ice cream. It does, no surprise, depend on the quality of your pumpkin bread, though. This week, I was playing the fool, and I made a recipe for pumpkin bread that called for whole wheat flour. So, it's not bad, but it does taste a little like an organic grocer's attempt at a good dessert. But I did make this recipe a while back, though, with pumpkin bread that was more like pumpkin pound cake. And now that was what we all aspire to have in our lives. The spicy sweetness of pumpkin bread, the dark ripple of chocolate, all embraced by the tender tang of cream cheese. My dear friends, it is not something to miss. Unless, of course, you'd rather make cinnamon roll-inspired ice cream. For that, you'll need cream cheese ice cream, toasted brioche, a brown sugar caramel, and some toasted pecans. Again, in a perfectly optimized world, you'd probably begin the whole process with a cinnamon stick in the dairy, and then put a nice deep toast on your brioche and let it all steep in the ice cream base before you churn it. But we live in an as-yet imperfect world, so I've opted to toss in torn up toast, drizzle in some caramel, and then scatter some pecans into the mix, and then fold, fold, fold. Oh yeah, and with a generous dusting of ground cinnamon, which really is just a lesson in not letting anyone be your boss. Now, would it be better to do this with a cinnamon stick? I mean, that does seem like the right thing to do, but I haven't done a side-by-side test, so I can't really say. What I can tell you, though, is that this mess turned out to be quite a gift. It's like if a cinnamon roll were cold. Cream cheese ice cream perfumed with cinnamon, laced with indulgent caramel, and craggy with pecan and chunks of frozen bread. I'm torn on the bread, to be honest. I like it, but like I said, I feel like we'd all like it more if we had just, steeped the bread in there to extract the flavor and then strained it out. I don't dislike it this way, though. But again, in the name of efficiency, I prepared these under a little bit of duress. When you make this at your own leisurely pace, you'll be free to do things however you want to do them. Which brings us to the third variation, and one that I find truly abominable. That said, I recognize that there is a segment of the population with no attachment to reality that thinks red velvet cake is a good and acceptable food. I kind of think that people who like red velvet cake just like cream cheese frosting and don't realize that you can put that on a regular chocolate cake. What are we getting out of red velvet that we can't just get from chocolate cake? And I mean, what are we getting besides a vial of well-advertised red food coloring? But anyway, for all of you out there who are fans of it, you can make red velvet ice cream by cubing up some red velvet cake and folding it into cream cheese ice cream. And like the pumpkin bread ice cream, this will depend a lot on the quality of the cake that you use. Now, I do not respect red velvet cake, but I'm also not above exploiting it for popularity. So I used a boxed cake mix that I purchased with a coupon. And you know what? It turned out totally fine. At least if you're into that kind of thing anyway. Hey, before we get into the last variation, do you remember that time the other day, very recently, when I made goat cheese, blueberry, and thyme ice cream? I also remember that because it happened sometime in the last 240 hours, and who's going to forget an event that occurred sometime in the last 10 days? Certainly not me. One other thing I remember saying, though, is that since the goat wasn't even saved with a slice of salami, I think what I would have really enjoyed would have been a cream cheese, vanilla, and blueberry ice cream. Now, doesn't that sound nice? So guess what? I did it, and it was really easy too. All I had to do was cook some blueberries down into a jammy sludge and add a splash of vanilla. Then I baked up a graham cracker crust, broke it into shards, and folded my sludge and shards into cream cheese, cream ice, cream cheese ice. And this is easily the best of the bunch. It's a little unreal. Sweet, syrupy blueberries, toasty butter graham cracker crust, cream cheese ice cream that's like if plain, unflavored ice cream had a sophisticated sibling who worked in the big city and visited on the holidays, this one's got flavor, texture, and all the gustatory pleasures that would make any systems optimizer shudder with shame. But, of course, I'm a poet and self-certified creamerist, so systems optimization was never something I was going to achieve. Blueberry cream cheese ice cream, though, well, that more than compensates. So I suppose with that, there's really no point in dilly-dallying, and I should just say thank you. Thanks for joining me again this week, and I'm sure I'll see you again next week. In the meantime, let's all enjoy some good ice cream and maybe make a point of doing at least one something with very little practical value. I mean, you can't advertise something you haven't tried, right? So, here goes. No. We gotta take this back to R&D.